Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching this from. So I'm happy to bring you to the part two of the servant leader. We are treating the module the servant leader. How do you become a servant leader and every other thing involved. And yesterday we talked about 8 qualities of a servant leader, and this is the 9th one. We're going to start right from here off the bat. So let's get started. So today we are talking in the part 2 of this module. We are starting with problem solving ability. A servant leader must have the ability to solve problems. Leadership is not about driving Rolls Royce. It's not about driving Rolls Royce and being called sir and having oddlies. Those are just attachments. The main thing, the tick of leadership is problem solving. If there are no problems, there's no need for leaders. Leaders step into a situation and try to resolve problems that the ordinary eye cannot, right? So problem solving is at the core of servant leadership. So leaders approach problems analytically and creatively to find effective solutions. So when a problem comes, let's say using the case study of Nigeria, okay, there's no electricity. So how do we resolve this? What options do we have what affordable options do we have to create power so everyone can have electricity in their homes? So you start working on possible solutions. You analyze, there's hydro power, there is solar power, there is gas power, there is wind power, there is what's this one, water that is coming at so much pressure, there's dam power. You analyze all of those and then you come up with the best solutions. So problem solving is at the core of servant leadership. So servant leaders encourage their teams to contribute to the problem solving process. One of the key things you must realize is that leaders don't work alone. Leaders need a team. As a leader, you are not expected to know everything. That was one of the things I taught starting out in the School of Leadership, that to be a leader, I must know everything. As much as possible, you should be a generalist, in the sense that you should read up on all kinds of things. Read about science, read about art, read about leadership, read about management. Be someone who understands a little bit of so many things. In fact, as a leader, be a jack of all trades. I think that's the only time that we can advise that you be a jack of all trade and be a master of none. You don't have to master anything, because you would eventually need to set up a team who are experts in their own right, that you cannot steer them right. You be like the leader of the ship. You be like the what they call this. You be like the person in charge to use their talents, their time, their effort to achieve a particular process, a project or result. So servant leaders encourage their teams to contribute to the problem solving process. Now, number 10 is resilience. A leader must be resilient. What is resilience? Leaders demonstrate perseverance and maintain focus during setbacks. There are keywords you have to take very seriously here, such as setbacks. There is no leader who is going to miraculously go through a time of leadership without issues to resolve. In fact, the whole essence of leadership, as I mentioned, is because there are challenges to be fixed. So you must demonstrate perseverance, as in this never give up attitude, this can do spirit, this yes we can spirit. You must demonstrate perseverance and maintain focus during setbacks. Do you understand what I'm saying? Demonstrate perseverance. Don't give up when others have said, this can be done. You should be the last man standing, saying, of course it can be done. And then, of course, there'll be so many people trying to distract you. Recall the analogy in the Bible between when Nehemiah caught the vision to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, and Sanballat and Tobias are on his neck trying to make sure it doesn't succeed. You have to maintain focus. So it's so dramatic, because the way the Bible pictured it was that with one hand they were building the walls, and with the other hand they had a cutlass. cutting off, any form of distractions like Sambalat and Tobias. Now, leaders' ability to recover quickly inspires confidence in their teams. Now, when there are setbacks, your ability not to stay in that season of depression in the valley is very key, because everything rises and falls on leadership, which means if the leader is depressed, like in the case of Moses, I just learned recently that Moses was supposed to deliver the people of Israel after 400 years in slavery, as God revealed to Abraham in Genesis. But at the 390th year, Moses eventually went ahead of himself, trying to do the deliverer work before time, and he killed someone and he had to go to exile, and eventually, the whole story of how he got married and was serving his father-in-law. Now, at the 390th year, when it was 10 years to fulfilling that purpose, he was depressed. At the 400th year, he was depressed. It took another 30 years. Imagine your team, imagine your nation, imagine your audience, imagine those people, your followers, having to wait an extra 30 years for you to fulfill something that you were supposed to fulfill 30 years earlier. So, it took an extra 30 years on top of the 400 years is bad enough, but it took an extra 30 years for Moses to be able to fulfill purpose. And you can see the whole argument that he was arguing with God, all through the process, even after seeing the burning bush. What am I trying to say in essence? Your ability to get back. Leaders get depressed. I get depressed when things don't go my way or go as planned. But your ability to bounce back. In fact, right now, something is happening, in my life, in my career right now, that needed me to bounce back quickly. If I didn't bounce back, I will not be able to make this video today. Do you see what I'm saying? If I don't make this video, you'll not be able to go through it and get the purpose for which God asked me to make this video or start this mentorship school. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So if you stay depressed, your ability to recover quickly inspires confidence in your team. So when situations are bad and your team has a low morale, you cannot afford to be in the valley for long. Eventually, you have to come up and charge your team to refocus, refire, and bring about change. So, number 11 is confidence. Yeah. A confident leader exudes assurance without arrogance. Now, of course, there's this dichotomy between, or there's this thing between confidence and arrogance, in the sense that sometimes when you are very confident, people say it's arrogance. Well, it all matters. What matters is the state of your heart. If you are confident and your heart is in the right place, then that's confidence. If you say you are confident but your heart is in the wrong place, then that's arrogance. Arrogance is just to arrogate some powers to yourself or authority that you don't really have, right? So, but if you are acting in confidence because of what God has asked you to do as a leader, then that is good confidence. That's good arrogance, if you will. So a confident leader exudes assurance without arrogance. One of the key things is a leader might not have all the big picture. Sometimes people ask me questions about the vision. Okay, New Nigeria, Green Area. There are questions they're asking me that I don't have the full answer, but I confidently tell them to the extent to which I know. Let's assume that somebody throws a question to me and I'm taking off balance. Then people will start wondering, did he really hear from God? Is this just his imagination? So a confident leader exudes assurance, in whatever needs to be done. Even when there are setbacks, when things are not going well the way they ought to be, you need to exude that level of confidence. So a servant leader's self-belief motivates others to follow them. You must. This is also a what's it called? A bounce from being a confident leader. When you believe, that's why usually before you begin to do anything physically, the first thing that happens is God works on you privately. You have an encounter. You see God in a dimension that you cannot claim. I used to say something that when you have seen something, it's hard to unsee it. So when you see God demonstrate some level of power, some level of presence, some level of the miraculous in your private quarters, then when you come out into the open, you have this belief. I won't call it self-belief. Let me call it God belief. You have a belief in God that this God that has sent me to do this will back me up. And that self-belief motivates others to follow you. When you are confident, when you believe, I don't want to say in yourself, but you believe, you have a strong aura based on what you have seen in private. People can read through your statements, through your speech, through your writings, through your teachings, if you are assured about what you are telling them to do, or you are just as confused or as shy as they are. So self-belief is very key for a servant leader. Number 12 is collaborative spirit. Leaders foster teamwork and encourage diverse input to achieve shared goals. One of the things that African leaders struggle with is the ability to set up a team and truly actively listen to them. When a leader, usually I want to say ruler, because when you are being authoritative and you are just dishing out commands, you are not a leader, you're a ruler. So leaders foster teamwork. So you gather a team together. Remember I said in a previous slide that you cannot achieve anything by yourself. You need to set up the right thing, and they'll bring their expertise together. So you combine the advice, the suggestions, the recommendations of everyone to achieve the bigger picture goal, right? So while you are doing that, you have to encourage people to, there are situations where you're in a boardroom and the chairman has this mien, like nobody can say anything, just listen to the new direction. You can't be that kind of leader. As a servant leader, you bring the idea up, you bring the vision out, and then you get the team to suggest, to recommend, to bring inputs, and you truly follow the inputs that align with the bigger picture, so that next time they will be glad to input, knowing that you will take their inputs to consideration. So leaders value and leverage the strengths of their team members. I just said that. Number 13, strategic thinking. One of the key things of a leader, one thing that separates a leader from a manager, is that the ability to envision problems, to envision opportunities, to envision what might go wrong, what can go right, where we need to get to, is very key. For example, let me give you an example off the top of my head for Nigeria. For example, think about Nigeria and all the resources it has in all the 36 states. Imagine that a president or a leader, the leader of Nigeria, looks for 36 technocrats or 36 specialized managers, so to speak, and puts them in charge of each of the state to oversee the unique resources in each state. So say Enugu now, I don't know if Enugu has oil, but I know they have palm oil or oil palm, as whatever it is that they call it. So the Enugu state governor or administrator can be in charge of that, to make sure that through the resources in Enugu, coal is also in Enugu, right? You can bring a huge internally generated revenue and not having to wait for the money from the center. Do you understand? And you can do the same thing for Benue. Benue is the food basket. Can you put an administrator in charge of a Benue state that will make sure that Benue supplies 70-80% of the food for Nigeria, and then we can export the rest? So these are the kind of things that a leader thinks about. It's like, okay, can we use our resources to become self-sufficient and even make people depend on us? That's strategic thinking. Leaders analyze situations. You see, I just analyzed that. Then they foresee challenges. In the course of trying to do this thing I just explained, what are going to be the challenges? Okay, how do we find the right manager or the right governor for a state? I don't want to put someone in a state just because majority people voted for him because he was able to move their hand to vote for him based on promises that probably he cannot fulfill, or kickbacks or whatever. You want to put a competent technocrat in a state that you will give him like goals and milestones, so that every six months, for example, he needs to come with a scorecard. And if he's not doing well in a 2 season 6 months session, you can fire him and bring someone else. There won't be any need for election. You just like, look, you're not doing what we have in the bigger plan, in the bigger what's they called, in the bigger blueprint for Nigeria. So we just have to let you leave, and then you bring somebody else until you find someone who can do the job. And of course, those are going to bring a lot of challenges, and people are going to people being people are going to kick against it, but that's what makes a leader a leader. So leaders focus on both immediate goals and long-term objectives. So now a situation, if you look at Nigeria now, you know that people are suffering. So if you want to bring solutions to Nigeria, you have to break it into two. You have to bring immediate situations that will immediately affect the lives of the average person on the street, while you're planning your long-term goals that might take a year, 5 years, 10 years to materialize. So you have to break goals. People need to, especially because the people have been so deprived for many years, they have to immediately start seeing something immediately to hint at the fact that these people really, this crop of leaders really love us and they mean well for us. If they can do this immediately and they are telling us to wait for this in 1, 5 or 10 years, we believe and trust them. Number 14 is creativity. Great leaders think outside the box and encourage innovation. Do you know that there are people who have come out in this country that they've created generators that can be powered by water, and the government is not doing anything to encourage that? We might invest in that and it may not work out, but at least let's try. One of the things that makes America a superpower is, do you know how many millions of dollars they throw at all kinds of innovations that out of 10, maybe only one works? But that one that works pays for all the other 9 that failed and puts them ahead of any other country as a superpower. Have you thought of it? It's not about supporting something because it must work. No. If somebody comes with something that you know that, okay, if we invest in this thing, a generator that is powered by water, wow, we have abundance of water in Nigeria and Africa. If we could support this guy, with 5 million, 10 million, 100 million to create a prototype, and it can really work and it can go commercial, do you know what that means? So great leaders think outside the box and encourage innovation. Servant leaders embrace new ideas, and inspire their teams to innovate. So when you're at the table with your team, you are constantly asking them, how can we do this better? What's innovation? Doing old things in new ways. How can we do this better? How can we cut costs? How can we achieve more? How this road that you said it will take 1 year to build, how can we do it in 6 months? This train that we want to build to connect Lagos southwest to the north, or Lagos to Port Harcourt, the engineers are saying it's going to take 1 year. Can this thing be done in 6 months? The people cannot wait 1 year. Can we get it? So they embrace new ideas and inspire their teams to innovate. Number 15 is inspirational motivation. Leaders inspire and energize their teams with a compelling vision and enthusiasm. One of the key qualities of a leader is your ability to inspire. So you must be a good speaker. You must be a good speaker. You must be able to inspire people. You must be able to speak, and something rises in them and they want to go to any length to follow you in achieving a particular dream. And there's this enthusiasm, there's this drive in you that becomes palpable, that becomes transferable, that people want to, before the speech they feel, or before the blueprint they feel that this is not possible, but after hearing you speak for 30 minutes, they're like, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens. Leaders make others believe in their abilities and the mission at hand. What you must understand is that I told you that a leader is a jack of all trades. The real purpose of a leader is to bring out the best in others. In fact, one of the key qualities of a leader is your ability to gather together in your team people who are more intelligent than you, people who are more strategic than you, people who are experts in their various fields, and they're going to combine all of that to help you achieve purposes and make you look like a genius, whereas you just know how to combine the skills and experience and expertise of your team. So you are there to make others believe in their abilities and the mission at hand. Now we're going to quickly go through the 12 kingdom we've talked about now, or the qualities of a servant leader. Now let's talk about 12 kingdom principles for leadership success. Kingdom principle 1, servant leadership, of course. Now, we take a reference from Matthew 23:11. It says, do you want to stand out? Then step down, be a servant. The best way to lead is to serve. If you want to lead by lording it over people, you are not a leader, you are only a ruler. True leadership starts with serving others selflessly and putting their needs first. So the whole essence of leadership, if you don't take anything out of this module, is to serve. To serve, you have to care and to love people. You have to put others first. Case study. Look at the story of Jesus. There was a particular time that the disciples were wondering who will be the greatest among us when you send us out. And he's saying that, the greatest among you will serve others. And he proceeded to start washing their feet because he wanted to prove to them he was the greatest among them. So Jesus started to wash the feet of his servants to prove that the concept of leadership is not to be high up there and say I'm the greatest. No, it is actually to come down, bend down, and wash people's feet, serve them. And then we have Mandela. Mandela, when the story of Mandela, 27 years in prison, wrongly accused. And when he came out, everybody was expecting him to revenge, to mess everybody up. Now that you are powerful, you are the president, jail everybody. And he came and he started preaching freedom. He started preaching freedom and forgiveness, telling people that, okay, whoever did to us, we forgive. Let's forgive them and move forward. If we spend time in regret, spend time in revenge, we are not going to go anywhere. Those are examples of servant leadership. They think beyond themselves. They think beyond the hurt. Do you know what it takes to be in prison for 27 years? I'm currently reading Mandela's book, The Long Walk to Freedom. I'm almost done. And do you know what he went through in Robben Island for 27 years? And yet he comes out and is thinking of others first. In fact, he's thinking of people who are supposed to be his enemies first. Preaching forgiveness, preaching moving forward, preaching something that will benefit the whole nation and not his selfish ambition for revenge. That's what I'm talking about. So there's also something called the who sent me principle. To be a servant leader, you must take up responsibilities that are not your business. In fact, if you've not taken up a responsibility where people are asking you that, who sent you? Like for example, now this mentorship school that I started, my people were like, okay, you're doing this free, you're not charging for it. Who sent you? Who sent you to do this? Can't you look for use your time more productively for something that can put money on the table? Well, God sent me. So, and that was makes you leave all your own ideas. I want to make more money and just serve people, right? So who is a servant? Well, a servant is someone who dedicates themselves to meeting the needs of others. I think this is very clear. Their primary focus is on helping. Okay? A servant's focus is helping, supporting, and providing for those they serve, often placing others' well-being above their own desires or comfort. To do this program, it's costing me a lot in money, in time, in effort, but that's what a servant is supposed to be about. It sounds good, it sounds sweet in the mouth. Oh, I'm a servant leader, but it is in the doing that servant leaders are made, right? The kingdom principle 2 is faithfulness in small things. One of the things I like to talk about, my time is almost done for this session, but I will try to pin this in. There is nothing that God wants to start with you that is going to start big. Go and write it down. Anything God wants to start with you, it will start small. Like this Great Mentorship School, when I started, 200 people registered, 200 plus people on our WhatsApp group. We sent messages to over 5,000 people. Out of 5,000 people, 200 people came to our group chat on WhatsApp. Out of those 200 people, our first live session, we only saw about 15 people maximum. About 15 people attending. Then you begin to wonder, 5,000, 200, 15. Oh no. If you look at our views on YouTube at this point, you'll be wondering that, is this really worth it? Do people really need this? Even though you're offering it free, it's like they don't want to. But one of the key functions, one of the key attributes of a servant leader is your ability to be faithful in small things. When everybody is thinking that, oh, shut this down, it's not working. Can't you see that only a few people are coming, even though you're offering free? Maybe this is not what they want. Give them what they want. Tell them how to make $1 billion in 30 days. You need to be faithful in small things. And we get our reference from Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Your small 10 stage or your small 10 phase is your testing phase. God will not put big resources in your hands if you've not handled small resources well. So for some of you who are thinking, oh, I'm starting small, I have this business, only 2 people are patronizing me, I have this group, I'm trying to mentor people, only 3 people are attending, well, this is for you. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. At your small level, there is no church, there is no organization, there is no business, there is no school, there is nothing that starts big. In fact, if it starts big, it will come down. Whoever can be trusted. I've seen people who threw money at a project or a business and everything came crashing, and it was only when they tried again, going little by little, you grow up. No matter how much you eat, you grow up gradually. But if you jump up, you land on the ground. All right, so successful leaders build trust by excelling in small responsibilities before handling greater tasks. Recall that David was at the back of the desert trying to make sure that no wild animal came for the sheep that was entrusted in his hands. And when they came, because they will always come, he fought them and killed them and made sure that he protected the small sheep. Little did he know that those sheep were just a type and shadow of the people of Israel who are in millions that he will later lead. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. Case study, David. Okay. I've already started talking about David. Then myself. And I've already talked about Green Mentorship School. Look at 5,000 people were called. 200 people answered. First live session, 15 people are coming on. But am I discouraged? No, because I know this principle. That's why you must understand principles. If not, when some things are happening, you won't understand. Small things happening in your life is a test for the big things coming. Okay. Kingdom principle 3, vision and purpose. Vision and purpose. The scripture, a servant leader must have vision and purpose. And our reference is from Proverbs 29:18, which says, if people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they're most blessed. Now, people are looking at Nigeria right now. I'm saying this now in January 2025, so that if anyone watches this video in the future, people are saying that people are looking at Nigeria now and they don't see any good that can come in the near future. So everybody is doing what they call japa. I'm not saying japa is not for some people, but I know my name, that everyone who has japa, we're not supposed to. So, and when you can't see beyond the now, you take decisions in the now that might backfire in the future. So, but for people like us, I said in the last live session that if anybody is supposed to japa, it should be me. Most of my income comes from abroad, so I might as well just go there and earn more. But because I understand that Nigeria is about to change, something big is about to happen in Nigeria, and I have a role to play, and some of the people that have jackpot have a role to play, I stay put. So that's vision. You must understand vision. Then you must understand your purpose. My purpose, based on understanding my purpose now, my purpose in the now tells me that I can't leave this country and jackpot like others. I can travel for vacation, I can travel for meetings, for conferences, but I cannot just up and leave, So I am someone like Isaac in the Bible that needs to remain in Canaan and build, remain in Canaan and plant. That planting might not really be farming, but do projects like the Green Mentorship School. So yeah, that's about it. That's right about it. So a leader must have a clear vision aligned with God's purpose to guide and inspire others. So I have gotten a signal that I'm almost clocking 30 minutes, so I'm going to stop right at this point, and in part 3 we will take off from here. What do we say at the end of every part? We say that you go, if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel. There's a lot that is going to happen in this channel. Subscribe to this channel, like, share this to people who need to hear it and be a blessing, and come to the comment section and ask questions or drop comments about what you think about what has been shared so far. See you in part 3 of the servant leader. God bless you.